Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we are going to try the block software, which you can download on either PC or Mac. This software basically lets you be introduced to programming without actually writing the code. Basically, you can use such blocks to manipulate this particular object here, the panda, and you can have different kinds of blocks arrangements here using all the categories that are mentioned here in the list. You can use them and create minor animations. So in blocks, like let's go through most of the tabs. So in motion, basically you can move them. They either move in either direction. You can turn them if you want. You can go to a random position, point in a different direction, and there are many such things possible. In looks, it basically can think about hello, maybe for 2 seconds. Basically, you can change the things that you want. You can actually change the costume, the way it's walking. You can animate that if you want to. You can add sounds like meow. There are events. Basically, in events, these are activated at only certain time. Let's say if this first one is when the green flag is pressed, which is this, which is basically a go. When space is pressed, basically any key is pressed, and you can select any key that you want in this case. You can have control sequences. Basically, you can repeat that particular blocks for some number of times. You can do it forever. You can do it in condition. If this happens, then do that. You can also do it in if else. Basically, if something is true, then do this. Otherwise, do the other thing. And then is wait, times, and different kinds of categories here. For sensing, it can sense how the mouse position is, whether it's touching a particular color, whether it's touching the edge of the screen, like if it's here it's touching the edge of the screen and stuff like that. You can change different things in it. There are operators. Basically, these are numbers. You can use it for certain comparisons when you wanted to. There are variables that you can create, and my blocks are all that you want to save it as your personal blocks and that you want to use in future. In this lesson, I have basically simulated some basic experiments. Like if you look at here, there are 3 blocks. Now if you look at the first block, which is not the first one the way it will start, but if you see here, it says when I receive start moving. So start moving is a message. When it gets that message, for forever it would move around, rotate, and go to these positions. You can change any number by just writing it here. So that's how the numbers are changed. Now this particular block structure is when 0 key is pressed, a sound plays meow, and it waits for 1 second and stops everything. So it stops all the blocks in the whole system. You can also do this script, other scripts in the sprite, and whatever you want to decide. So we basically select all here. And this one on the right that you see is when left arrow key is pressed, which I have selected. Let's do this for, okay, let's change it to right arrow maybe. So when this key is pressed, if this animation is touching the edge, then it will broadcast start moving message, this, and it will start this particular loop, this block loop, and it will start just rotating on display. So if I click here, it will just show you the structure, how it's working for that particular block structure. So if I click on it again, you can stop the working. Now this portion here is, so this portion on the left, you can set the XYZ. So you can do 0 0. You can set the direction. Basically, let's say you want it to be starting to face in the front direction for now. So you like that, and you can show on and off if you wanted to. So, and one other thing is if you press this, you can full screen it and see how exactly the animations are working. So now if you look at this panda on the left here in the animation screen, we'll try to simulate how the control is working. So first look at this guy. So if I press a right arrow right now, which I will here, so it will start. So it wasn't at a boundary, so it will just glide 2 seconds to a random position. And now if I press the right arrow key again, then it's nearly at the edge, but it would like still glide at a random position. But now if I play the right key again, it will go in this section, the forever section on the left, and will keep on going. But if you see the center part of the blocks, I've set 0 key as the reset key. So if I play 0 here, it will make a sound meow and stop everything. See, it stopped. Now, the same thing that you can simulate here is without using the actual blocks. Now I'm pressing the right key, which is going to move it to random position. Now if I play right key again, it's at the edge, so it will start rotating at the center. And if I press 0, it will stop this. So it stopped. So this is how you can play around with blocks. To understand this entire lesson, you have to use all these categories to create any different kinds of operations that you feel like. Just be creative. At least each sample should have certain at least three blocks of code, and it should do multiple things that you want to change around. And all these basically two sessions or two animations that you create have to be different than each other. So try exploring as much as you can. Even if it's something that you don't understand, just try it out and see how it's working. That's the best way about visual programming. So once you understand the concept about forever loop, instances, and if conditions, you can basically implement that in a programming language as well. So this is just an introduction of how you can control things in programming. It's not going to be exactly the same, because in programming, it's not always the animations that you're going to see. It can be a visual feedback, basically something like an LED, an audio feedback, basically a speaker, a buzzer. It can be just a text output, basically in a programming language that we write. It can be just a text output, or it can be on a robot, which we plan to do by the end of this course. So I hope you like this tool and try exploring, and do provide me with the feedback.